Hi, this is John Sifferman. I'm the creator of physicalliving.com, where I teach health first fitness and physical culture to my readers around the world. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to stabilize your shoulders during the pull-up and chin-up exercises and all of the other variations thereof. This is something that I usually refer to as shoulder pack, and what I mean by that is packing your shoulders downwards onto your rib cage. So if you're standing here at rest, it's the opposite of a shoulder shrug, where we're shrugging our shoulders upwards. It's the very opposite movement. Instead of shrugging our shoulders up, we're shrugging them down, or in other words, packing our shoulders down onto our rib cage. And we do that with a strong muscular contraction of the lats, which is primarily responsible for pulling the arms downwards, and to an extent the pectoral muscles here. So that's while your arms are at rest. Obviously, when we're doing pull-ups, our arms are extended overhead, but it's the very same movement involved in packing your shoulders down. So what I want you to do is raise your arms overhead with me, lock your elbows out, and shrug your shoulders up towards your ears, as if you're doing a overhead shrugging exercise. And then I want you to do the opposite. Pull your shoulders downwards onto your rib cage. And if you're having trouble with it, you can do it with just one arm. You can shrug it up and then pack it downwards. Try to maintain elbow lock as you're packing it downwards. You'll be tempted to bend the elbows, but obviously when you're doing pull-ups, your elbows will be fully locked in the bottom hanging position. And this is the position that your shoulders are most stable in the pull-ups exercise. It's not when they're up here by your ears. It's when they're packed down. And essentially what you're doing when you're packing your shoulders down is you're creating a structure in which to transfer force back and forth between your arms and your torso. So you're marrying the muscles of your arms and upper back together at the shoulder joint. You're creating a very stable structure to transfer that force. Now, this is very important for a lot of reasons. I mean, not only does it immediately improve your performance, because you'll be able to, especially long term, increase your pull-up numbers and increase the types, the spectrum of different kinds of pull-ups that you can do. You'll be able to do more advanced pull-up variations if you get this right from the beginning. If you don't get it right, then you're going to be a lot weaker. And I mean weaker from repetition to repetition. If you have one rep that you do with a packed shoulder and you have another that you don't, you are immediately going to become weaker. So it's important to train this from the beginning so that long term you can attempt much more advanced pulling variations. So what does this look like when we're on the bar? If we're hanging from the bar, if you've never packed your shoulders before, you're probably tempted to allow your arms to shrug up towards your ears. So your ears might come in contact with your deltoids or your biceps. But when you pack your shoulders downwards, your ears, there's going to be some space. And look for, in particular, space in this area, just above your trap and shoulder muscles. You don't want your arms to be right up against your head. You want space in between there. Just like we do when we're doing this open chain packing exercise, we want the same thing while we're doing it during pull-ups. So we're going to allow them to shrug up, and then we're going to pack them down. This is the most stable position in the bottom position of the pull-up exercise. You'll notice there's space above my traps, and my arms are not close to my ears in this position. Now, this is most important in the bottom position of the pull-up, because that's where most people go wrong. And what's happening when you unpack your shoulders in this pull-up exercise is you are no longer resting on the structure of your body. You're just not aligned as efficiently as possible. So a lot of your body weight is actually resting on these soft muscular tissues instead of being held together by your joints and your bones in this shoulder pack position. And it's a muscular contraction that's involved to marry that arm to your torso, and it's a much more efficient position. But although it's most important in the bottom position of the pull-up exercise and the chin-ups and all the other variations, you have to maintain this throughout the full range of motion of every repetition. So it's not just the bottom. It's most important in the bottom because that's where most people make their mistake. But just observe. I'm going to show you a proper shoulder pack position throughout the full range of motion of the pull-up. So you notice that my arms are not shrugging upwards. They're remaining packed down throughout the full range of motion. This is really important. It's going to improve your performance in the short term. It's also going to help you prevent injuries in the long term. If you have a habit of unpacking your shoulders while you're doing a pull-up exercise, chances are good that you're going to hurt yourself in the future. A lot of physical therapists see people who are fitness trainees and they hurt their shoulders, whatever, hurt a rotator cuff or whatever. They just have some sort of shoulder dysfunction because of doing pull-ups incorrectly. And that's why this is really going to pay off. And like I said, you want to be doing pull-ups like this from the start. So I hope this gave you a pretty good idea of what's involved when it comes to stabilizing your shoulders during the pull-up exercise. It's kind of hard to teach this in video format. It's much easier in person. If you feel like you're just not getting it or you're not sure if you're doing it right, then I highly recommend you turn to somebody local who understands shoulder pack. If there's a gymnastics studio or school in your area, that's probably the first place I would look. Any one of those guys who's familiar with the rings is going to be able to take one look at you and offer you valuable feedback. So that's probably the best thing you could do. I do my best to try and explain this in video, but it's a limited teaching modality. And so anyways, hope this helped. And if you have any more questions, I'd be happy to help you as best as I can. I guess that's about it. I'm John Sifferman from physicalliving.com. Take care.